Welcome to the next episode of the paper that we've been going over. It's now turned into a book. We have walked all the way down the American timeline. We see how their contracts constantly have been altered or shifted through amendments or different policies that were written. And we established that God's law is never changing. So we are going to dive into which God is true. And since this topic is so massive, I'm just going to talk about me for a second. Okay? So I've always prided myself as a truth seeker, is what I've called myself. I give myself a different title now. We'll get to that at another stage. But growing up, all the way until high school, they used to call me choir boy. Yes, I did sing in the choir, but that wasn't the only thing that I did. I was in the church about 4 to 5 times a week. You know, at my peak, I started the youth usher board. I was in choir. I did the miming ministry. I did vacation Bible school. I did Bible studies. I mean, I was in church, right, a lot of the time. And that, you know, I was raised that way. I kind of believed in God, but I never fully followed God, right? So as I went to college, I eventually left church, as many people do. For those of you who know me in college, you may not think that I was wilding out, but for those of you who actually knew me, knew how I rebelled and acted out and how I even lost myself compared to high school. And within the last couple of years, more specifically, I really dived in to these other religions. I really wanted to feel the truth. I really wanted to just know it for myself because there's so many things out there. All right. I've even gotten to the place where I thought maybe all of them are true. Isn't God good enough to where he would leave an avenue for us to enter into heaven no matter what? So that's kind of how I was thinking, and I was just trying to figure out what else was out there. Studied the Nation of Islam, Hebrew Israelites, which I seriously considered joining, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Mormonism. So later on, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. We don't have time to go through all of these today, nor do I think you care. Another thing that I was really big into, almost ashamedly so, was the occult and the paranormal. The paranormal specifically, I actually have a couple of stories that I could share. I would only share the one where I had an experience. I was around others when that experience happened as well, but I'm not going to share that because it's not mine to share. If you guys are interested in hearing about it, let's get this video to 15 likes. But nevertheless, I was extremely obsessed with the paranormal and the spiritual realm of things. I actually almost bought up to $2,000 of equipment. Sorry for that smirk, but it's just how much I was into it. Literally, I was witnessing. I've had an experience. I knew people who had experiences, and what I'm seeing and studying just made sense to me. I knew that it was real. So this is what I put a lot of my energy into because I could see it. I could see the tangible evidence of it, right? But through all of these years, even after college, about 10 years after, I still couldn't shake this name Jesus. No matter where I went, the name Jesus still had authority. So it was very interesting. Last year, I found this gentleman's page. His name is GodLogic. He's a black apologist, and he has to be around my age. I just think he is. I'm 31. He seems to be a millennial for sure. But what I love about his ministry, I don't know if he calls it a ministry, but it's a ministry, is on his page, literally daily, just about, he will have dialogue with Muslims. He invites them to come up. He has some sort of prompt, and they engage, right? And this is where my revelation came after watching his video for a couple of weeks. Didn't take long at all. But the revelation that I had was that any honest pursuit of truth ultimately will lead you back to Jesus. And that blew my mind. Blew my mind. So he's the creator of the Islamic dilemma. Mind you, it's his creation, not mine, but I think it's very, very powerful. GodLogic, if you happen to see this and I butcher it, forgive me. But go to his page to check it out exactly. But what the Islamic dilemma is GodLogic's way to use the Quran, since it's already their authority, and show them what it says. So there's 2 points that I thought was magnificent. The first one was, in the Quran, there's a story where Allah was talking to Muhammad. And what Allah says is, if you have any questions to the things that I have revealed to you, test this with the scriptures before, or something to that effect. I know you guys are going to, grill me, double check, the actual verse in the comments. But nevertheless, what's interesting is the Quran was written about 600 AD. The Torah was written before ADs even happened, and the New Testament was written about 60 to like 120 AD. So nevertheless, the Quran has specific instructions from Allah to Muhammad. If you question anything, go to the scriptures before. What were those scriptures before? I mean, we just went over them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I found out that they believe in Jesus as well, but they call him Isa, the prophet Isa. And they talk about how Isa walked around with this perfect revelation of God. And he preached it, and it was called the Injil. And to my belief, I don't see any reason why the New Testament isn't the Injil. I mean, literally, the New Testament is first-hand or second-hand accounts from people who were either with Jesus, or they interviewed people who were with Jesus, and they wrote it down. So, very interesting things that I found. But nevertheless, we're not going to go a deep dive into Islam specifically. But I thought GodLogic did a really, really good job at what he does. I don't know a story. I would love to hear about it, but go check him out. Please go follow. This is his page. Now, from me realizing, wow, there is a way. There is a way to find truth. I started testing some of these things. I mean, the Nation of Islam was already debunked, so I knew that wasn't a thing. Hebrew Israelites, my issue with them is that they are incomplete. And that's what I found to be so dangerous. Cherry picking from the Bible, how that can now create a very dangerous doctrine. Buddhism came from Buddha. Buddha himself says, I do not know the answer. I am still searching. So I know he can't be God. And Mormonism, I actually had about 3 to 4 different Mormons come in, and they told me the story. I believe his name is Joseph Smith, the creator. And I'll share it with you all because I found it to be fascinating. Joseph Smith was tired of the church. He felt like nobody was actually following the correct word of God. I think he gets a vision or a dream. I believe he crosses the country, finds a tree, and digs under the tree and finds scrolls. So, I think something happened. I think he may have even heard from God. So I'm talking to the Mormons, and I'm asking them, I'm like, okay, so if you guys are affirming the Bible, if you are telling me that this is all the same thing, why do you have a separate book? That was my question. Why do you have a separate book? And why is the Bible not your authority? And what he said to me was, oh yeah, no, it doesn't contradict. This is an additional testament. And that's where things got tricky for me, because I said, okay, the Old Testament was given to us by God. New Testament was given to us by God. Who is this testament given to us by? And if you're affirming the Bible, why is the Bible not your authority? So to me, it didn't make sense. But the deeper I go, I now even see how Mormonism actually does go against Christianity. Their belief system is that we become God, which is vastly different from Christianity, where we are the vessel that inhabits the one true God. But very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. So as far as where we want to go next, what I realized through my own personal research and study is that belief systems that we hold, usually, majority of the time, are never questioned and never challenged. Okay? So eventually I would love to start an apologetic group, because I think this will end a lot of issues in the world, but we'll keep going. What I also want to talk about is how people focus on fruit. There's a very close family member of mine who seems to be in this space right now. She focuses on astrology, law of vibration, energy, all of these things which are actually true. And her obsession with it is that it's so perfect. It's perfect. We have to study it. But when I look at it that way, I find it to be much more logical that chaos could come out of order, but order could never come from chaos. So if this thing is perfect, to me, it's easier to assume that it came from a perfect creation. You know, we are so obsessed with the fruit of our Creator or the design of our Creator, but we never focus on the one who did the designing, okay? Which is idolatry. Let's call it what it is. But then this gets to the hard questions I had to ask myself that we will be discussing soon. Black and Christian? How can I be black and Christian and be okay with that, knowing how so many people have used and weaponized the Bible to justify slavery? And even bigger than that, can I defend my faith like GodLogic? And not only can I defend my faith like GodLogic, but could it be debunked? Can Christianity be debunked? So that is where we will be heading next in our next video. Can we debunk Christianity? But if you guys have been enjoying the video thus far, please like, comment, subscribe, share the video. And until next time, peace.
I was born in His image, but then I sin in His face. Or do I look like an enemy cause I put myself first? How I do what I want, but then I worship in church. I make it all about me. How can I make it go well? I feel I'm breaking His heart all of the times that I fell. And yeah, I know the truth, I know